This is my first time in this meeting, and this is only my third online meeting. So anyways, I don't know if I'm more nervous or less nervous than if it's speaking live. It's just been a little bit strange to get adjusted to the online meetings. But anyways, thank you so much, Molly, for asking me to speak. I think it's really good for me right now, especially to stay connected. And so let's see, my sobriety date is February 22nd, 2006. And I have a home group here in Bozeman, Montana, in a service position and a sponsor, and I sponsor women. And I think that's it for the top of the list. I was thinking a lot about what I wanted to talk about today because I have a lot of time on my hands to think about things. And what was really coming to me is the 10th step. And so I just wanted to share my experience, strength, and hope around that as it relates to maybe the last like 3-4 months of my life. And so I'll kind of give you a brief summary of what was going on before about mid-November. So for I got sober and went through all the hard stuff of not being sober and getting sober, and being newly sober and having tumultuous relationships, and kind of figuring out what I want to do with my life and what I want to be when I grow up, and going to school and doing all this life really. And I got to this place in my life where things were really good. And it was almost, I would always say, like, I kind of pinched myself because I had this dream relationship and I had my dream job, and life was really pretty easy and really happy, which I don't know about you guys, but for me, happy is the one emotion I do really well, and I really suck at all the other ones. So I had several years of just this really amazing life that I couldn't really believe I had gotten. And in mid-November, I lost all of it on the same day, pretty much. I lost the relationship and the job, and all of a sudden, it felt like my life exploded. And I had like no feet on the ground. I woke up on December 1st and I had no job and no girlfriend, and my life was entirely different. And I think it's the most hopeless that I can ever remember feeling in my sobriety. I've been through other heartbreaks, and I've been through deaths, and I've been through a lot of sad things. But I was always able to say, when a relationship ended or a job ended, or it was always easy to say there was so much wrong with that, and there were so much other things that I was looking for, that I had hope that the next thing could be better. But I was so lucky to have this amazing life that when it all ended, I felt like there was no hope. Like, I don't know how I could have something better than what I had. And it was a really, really dark December for me. And I live in Montana, so it's actually literally really dark here in December. So the only thing I know to do whenever I have any emotion is all of the things that you've taught me here. And so I started going to 2 meetings a day. I would go to the 7 a.m. meeting and then an evening meeting. I talked to my sponsor. I reached out to people who were just even acquaintances. I went on walks with people. I went to coffee with people. I stayed connected. I wasn't sure if I was going to drink. I didn't really care whether I drank or didn't drink, but I just didn't want to live anymore. And that's kind of where my brain goes. I have this black and white, like I really understood it on a new level in December, what people have been saying in the rooms about black and white thinking. Because it's just like, I feel pain and I just want to run as far as I can from that pain. And so I did so much AA. I mean, I didn't have a job at the time, so I was kind of organizing for my next job, but I just did so much AA. I was so grateful to actually have the time and not have to be at a full-time job in order to take care of myself. But one of the things that I started doing, because I don't know about everyone else, but I really only like to do the 10-step inventory when I'm really in a lot of pain. So I do inventories and I rework the steps here and there, and I do inventories over situational things, but I'm really bad at doing the nightly inventory. And but I was in a lot of pain, so I used every tool that I had, and I started doing the 10-step inventory every night. And it's incredible. I want the tools of AA to, I want to be able to do them and then feel better, soon. And that was not my experience. It's really never been my experience with the spiritual toolkit that we have. I don't get to feel better instantly. And so I would do this 10 step, like, where am I selfish, dishonest, resentful, and afraid? And all the other questions. But those were the big ones that I think made a difference for me. And so, the selfishness, like, I was so consumed with self. I was I don't really remember being this consumed with myself where I couldn't even listen to other people. Like, I would ask people, because I know that you're supposed to ask people, how are you today? What's going on in your life today? And I couldn't even hear. I'd have to remind myself to pay attention to what their answers were, because I was so consumed with my grief and my pain and my world ending and all about me. And I felt like my situation was so unique. Like, no one had a love like this ever in the world, and no one's ever felt this pain. And, I was so consumed with self. And I would write that every night for like 6 weeks. Every night I would write this on the inventory, and I'm aware of it, and I'm inventorying it, and I'm talking to my sponsor about it, and it's not changing. But I guess one of the things that I've learned is that, it's not on my time necessarily. But I know that this stuff works if I just keep sticking with it. And the other thing that really was pivotal for me is dishonest. And not the biggest part of that is being dishonest, like the lies that I tell myself, and learning to differentiate when my brain tells me something, if it's true, or if it's just my brain trying to kill me. And so I had so many thoughts that I still sometimes believe I might not find anything as amazing as I had before, but I can't know that to be true. At least I can maybe know it to be true when I'm 80 years old and looking back, but I can't know that to be true today. And so learning to really pay attention to my thoughts was really helpful. And afraid I could talk for like a whole hour on everything that I was afraid of and have been working through over the past couple of months. But then you sort of fast forward to last week, and I don't know, depending on where you are in the world, but in Bozeman, Montana, last Monday is when we shut everything down, and we went into, I keep calling it isolation because that's what it feels like to me, but I know there's a different word for it. And the first couple of days that I am supposed to be staying indoors in my house, and I'm not working, and I can't go to AA in person, and I can do this, and this has been amazing, but it's just been new and a little bit scary. And I felt all of a sudden my heartbreak was starting to mend a little bit, and all of a sudden I felt so alone. And I live alone, and that's true, but I'm not alone. I have all of you, which there's a lot of faces on my screen right now. And I have an amazing community and friends here in AA and not in AA. And I have an amazing family. They just don't live with me. And I feel like the first few days of this quarantine, it was, like I got shaken up, but not as bad as I would have thought. And I really believe it's because of working so diligently at the steps in the past like 4 months that all of a sudden I have a thought come into my brain, and my first reaction is that a real thought? Is that true? And I question it. And that's the gift of this program when I take the time to work it. So I wanted to share hope because I feel like I've been through a lot, and I've been in a really dark place, and then got put into not the quarantine, and I actually had to put my sweet cat to sleep yesterday. She's been with me for 11 years, my little buddy, and so I've had a lot of loss and a lot of pain. And one of the things that I remember learning when I was in treatment is that you can have more than one emotion at a time. And what I've learned from AA and watching people go through much harder things than what I've gone through is that you can be really sad and have a lot of peace. Or, you can be really unsettled and really happy at the same time. And I just wanted to share that some hope, because I feel like I haven't, been happy, joyous, and free these last few days or week or so. It's not been, I think, about a year ago this time, and my life was really different. But I'm happy and I have peace, and I feel like I don't know. I thought maybe if you heard my experience recently, it would be helpful. I wanted to close with just a reading from the Big Book on step 10. So this is on page 84. This thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commenced this way of living as we cleaned up the past. We have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code. So anyways, that's all I have. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Katie.